Good day everyone and welcome to this Arcanist PvP commentary with tips on how to play this class and with my thoughts as the fight is going, to what is important to keep in mind, to what I'm doing, and also to explain a bit the benefits and drawbacks of this class and different builds here. So for the first clip now, I have a clip of a quote-unquote classic Arcanist that just uses Beam as its burst ability, much like a Necromancer would use Blast Bones or a Warden would use Sub-Assault or Deep Fissure. I have here a fight in Alessia Bridge, with an EP Zerg that I try to chip off some people off. Immediately you can see there are 7 to 8 people chasing me, and these 8 people are going to go and chase me up this hill. I'm running, I'm trying to be fast, I have Celerity CP, I have Race Against Time. I don't want to be in a situation where I have to fight all these people at once, so I go in this choke point over here with a ledge on one side and then a cliff on the other side, and that gives me room to both defend myself because there's a lot of LOS, and you can see it right here, the beam can hit everybody. I also cast my ultimate after that. The Tide King's Gaze is also going to hit everybody together with my beam, and all this dot pressure together is going to be a really nice pressure over time, and people can't run away from that easily, as I am in a bit more of an enclosed space. And I think this short clip here is an ideal example of where you want to use these abilities. Then there's this last player here. He is not healing himself or anything, so I can just beam him down as well, nothing difficult. And that is basically the end of this first clip. It's a very quick 1v4 that I just want to show for the educational purpose of running to a small enclosed space and then trying to burst somebody down with Tide King's Gaze and the beam, which is an important part of playing a classic Arcanist build like this in 1vx. Then in this next clip, I want to show the drawbacks of this beam build. So I'm in the same area here around Alessia Bridge, and I am now more in open field, just fighting one singular player. I'm not running away this time because I can take the pressure, of course, but I want to show the use of beam basically as a burst ability and also the ultimate on how to make combos with it. So basically the idea is that it is easy to avoid the beam, and you will see that throughout this fight by just having mobility, by roll dodging out of it. Even though it's undodgeable, it will give you mobility and such things. Here you can see the ultimate, I roll dodge out of it, I cast Race Against Time immediately afterwards, and I simply kite it out. There's no way that thing is going to hit me ever again this way. Then I do the same thing on the Arcanist I'm fighting, and he's basically doing the same thing. He roll dodges or just moves away and then uses the portal to try and escape from this Tide King's Gaze ultimate, and that's how you can see you can counter that pretty easily. Now the question is, how can you make it hit after all? Even though people might know how to counter it, what can you do to reduce the chances of people running away from it? And the most important part here is to, before that the beam hits, have a stun hit. So in my case, Rune of the Colorless Pool, I want to hit that on my enemy before the enemy has a chance to react. And this is also how I'm going to get a kill eventually in this clip. So for starters, here he has his beam again, and you can see I'm 30% health, but still it is not even hitting me because I'm just so far away from it. I think if that guy would be a Necromancer and that would be at 30% health and then a Blast Bones would hit, I have a good chance of dying, but not with the beam because you can just use mobility. Here he has again his Tide King's Gaze hitting on me. I just do Race Against Time and I do mobility. In the meantime, I attack him at the same time, and then I'm going to set up my own burst afterwards. So I did Rune of the Colorless Pool and beam right afterwards. That's how you want to use it. I did it in the first clip a little bit as well, but it's more difficult in 1vx to show that quickly, of course. Here it is easier. And you can see I'm building up my ultimate, I cast it, I cast the stun afterwards, he roll dodges out of it, but the stun catches him in the roll dodge because you can't dodge it, and that way he's going to die just to the ultimate and the beam right afterwards. It helps of course that he's not that tanky, and that he was also already a bit on low health, risking too much trying to damage me beforehand, but the burst from the Tide King's Gaze, Balorks, which is what I'm wearing here as well, the beam and the stun hitting all in the middle of that, that is the best way to ensure things hit on the Arcanist, and that's the best way to play builds that focus on these beam and channeled abilities. Now for this next clip, I have a bit of a different story. So this build is going to be more with proc sets. I'm wearing the Vateshran Ice Staff, I'm wearing Master Dual Wheels, Dragon's Appetite and Zan. So this is all proc sets, and I'm trying to make my damage with this and my Spammables, instead of with a sort of quote-unquote burst with the beam and such. I could also use Tide King's Gaze here, but for this build I've opted to go with Precognition on the back bar as a defensive ultimate and Dawnbreaker on the front bar, simply because for 1vx purposes it helps to have Dawnbreaker as an offensive front bar ult, since it not only is going to give you a big AoE burst, it will also give you time. Everybody is stunned and it leaves you space to attack somebody without being damaged too much yourself. So starting this clip over here, you have this big EP Zerg on the resource here, well, a decent group at least, and I'm going to run straight into the tower. Obviously I don't want to fight everybody on that flag because they would all attack me, and that way if I'm in the tower I can attack a few people at a time. I go to the entrance of the tower just to try and see if I can pull some people. I just do some light attacks, some random stuff to see if people come inside. They are simply taking the resource right now, and now that it's been taken you can see 3 or 4 people come inside. I'm going to kite up the tower so I can benefit from all the LOS here and see if I can find some people by themselves, because that's what I'm looking for here, just an opportunity to attack somebody by themselves to try and burst them down. Now I casted Undo here. It was, I think, an accident here, I'm not entirely sure. It was not really necessary, but it's okay. I'd rather accidentally cast a defensive ult than wait too long with casting it. So you can see here, I am now in a bit more of a safe position. There's 3-4 people. I can use LOS constantly to defend myself. Going back and forth around the walls is so much defense that I can do. And in the meantime, I'm applying dots to everybody. Doing Twin Slashes is going to give me extra healing because I'm wearing Dragon's Appetite, but still I'm taking a lot of damage. So every now and then I'm just going to do a ring around the tower, then get back to my position, place down my AoE heal, and then go and try and damage somebody. And here I find an opportunity. I place my dots on everybody, I stun him so he can't heal himself up immediately, and then I finish him off a bit more with Twin Slashes. You can see now he's being rest, so I'm gonna go back and forth through the walls and then Dawnbreaker everybody with that was on top of that corpse, and that way I'm going to do a big AoE burst and try to finish somebody off. Unfortunately they counter that by on one hand healing up a little bit, and on the other hand they cast an ultimate themselves, so I'm forced to change my position and abandon the previous thing. I see the sorcerer over here, he's not healing himself, so he is a prime target. I just place dots on him and he just dies randomly from the dots, which is nice of course. You always want to make sure that you kill the weaker targets first in 1vx, because those are easy to do and they help you defend yourself from the stronger targets as well, if they are dead. Here again a res, so I'm just going to quickly interrupt that, place my dots on the enemy. He tries to res again instead of healing up, and I make use of that of just having the dot stick. You can see all these things with Master Dual Wield and 3 Bloodthirsty can deal quite a bit of damage, and that way he dies. Then there's these 2 guys left. I place my dots on the other Arcanist over here. He kites his way through the negate. I just cast the Race Against Time just as I entered the negate to quickly pass through it to continue my pressure on this other Arcanist. I add up to the Zaan with the Dawnbreaker. The guy was already CC immune, so it didn't stun him, but still it's a nice amount of damage that is useful. Then he casts his own ultimate, so I'm going to do the same thing as in the first clips and just kite that thing out, and in the meantime attack him. If I am in the ultimate, his enemy ultimate, I'm just going to walk through it. Same counts for the beam. And in the meantime, because of random light attacks and skills I cast, my procs are damaging the enemy, so it's a constant amount of pressure that is difficult to deal with, no matter if you run this kind of build on Arcanist or anything else. In the end here, I stun him, and that combined with the dots just proccing him at the same time is gonna make sure that he can't out-heal it and that he will die. Then we have the sorcerer over here. He tries and buffs up and heals, but in the meantime the passive damage from all the procs plus my active attacks with Twin Slashes and the Sparable escalating Rune Blades is just too much to out heal, and that way that guy is going to die as well. And that ends this quick 1v4 in a tower here. Before I end this clip, I just want to say that this kind of tower with lots of LOS and such is an ideal place to fight on the Arcanist. You might have noticed in the previous clip as well, I really make sure that I go to enclosed spaces because this is where this class shines. It counts for any brawler, but I think especially for the Arcanist because its ultimate and its beam ability works specifically well in enclosed spaces where people can't walk away from it as easily. You combine that with a stun, you have a good time with that. But also, if you're not running that beam or the ultimate, you're still good in close spaces because you have time to defend yourself, to kite and heal and fight one enemy at a time rather than having to defend yourself from everybody and try and pick one single target out of there because you don't have the mobility to kite in open field. Anyway, those were the clips I wanted to show you for the Arcanist. I hope you enjoyed the clips and that the commentary was useful. If it was, be sure to let me know in a comment or just by liking the video or subscribing, and then I'll make more of these. Have a good one, guys. See ya.